the birth chart is a map, a plan of the soul for the karmas to be fulfilled, the experiences to be had in this lifetime, including like relationships and careers and health issues and spiritual paths. All of these things were there for the soul to fit into this plan. So I always tell people that your plan is perfect. You cannot have a better plan than you have for this life. You might wish you had a different plan. You may wish you wouldn't have to do this kind of thing, or you may not do a very good job at it. And that's quite true. A lot of times, it's like a lesson plan. You're given your assignments in college or school, and it could be a great lesson plan, but you may do a bad job. You may not study for the exam. You may cheat on your exam or whatever, and it doesn't turn out so well. But all the soul can really do is give you the plan. Now, that is where this is where the real work begins, because it's through the will of the soul, that you actually can do this plan. If you don't apply the soul's will, the plan won't get done. You got to come back around again. It's like repeat, right? Didn't graduate, whatever it was. You didn't do your homework, didn't do your real work. Come back around again. But you had the opportunity. But the opportunity was merely there for you to learn how to apply the will of the soul. And that's what this life is all about. If you can apply the will of the soul consciously and do the plan, everything is really great. It's really, really great, because then you completed the karma of this lifetime at least. You probably haven't created a lot of new karma. You still got a pool to go through, but time is, listen, time is eternal. The soul is eternal, not a problem. Come back around and do it again. So the problem with reincarnation is that there's suffering. Even people who have the most amazing, magnificent lives suffer. It's just part of being a body. It's part of being in time, right? No matter what you do, no matter how healthy you are, no matter how much money you have, no matter what you plan, you will still suffer. You'll suffer the death of those you love. You'll suffer the pains of the body. You'll suffer the unfulfilled needs of the soul. This is just, it's not to be pessimistic about it. This is just, but the suffering is there to kind of keep you going. Like, look, it's a great life sometimes to be on this planet. It's a wonderful thing. You have all these beautiful sensual pleasures. It's an amazing place to be. But as I was telling someone just yesterday, I've never been in a hotel that I wasn't glad to check out of. Think about it. I've never been in a hotel that I wasn't glad to check out of. Earth for some people it's a 5-star hotel. For other people it's a crash pad. It doesn't matter. But at some point you check out of it, right? Why? Because the soul knows there's a much better place to be hanging out than the hotel Earth, right? Much better place to be. That's why there is that concept of heaven, or however we want to think about it, So that's why we have this thing about the incarnation. Now let's circle back on the past lives. That's the journey of the soul and what's going on here, right? So in the chart, in the astrological chart, that's my way of kind of saying, okay, what's the past life of this soul? And the way we learn it is by looking at what it's come to do in this lifetime. So it's like, oh, I see. This came to have this experience. And that because the last time they was here, it didn't have those experiences. So it's like, what have you done on your soul's journey? What have you actually done karmically in your soul's journey? What does your soul think it needs to do in this present journey? The present and future karma. And this at least can give us an indication of what we need to pay close attention to in this journey. So again, taking it back to Vedic astrology, which I love to do, there are planets in the chart that indicate both the past karma of the soul's journey, and the present, or what we call the unfolding karma of the soul in this lifetime. There's actually, we have two quote planets called Rahu, the north node of the moon, that indicates what the soul is trying to do or needs to do. Let's just say needs to do. And we have the planet Ketu, which indicates what the soul has done and maybe needs to balance and to integrate. So a lot of times, all the time actually, these two energies, these two planets, they're opposite each other. Each one is the opposite of the other. It's like a polarity. There are two things they're very different. But they're also two things that are one and the same. We call them like two things, Rahu, Ketu, but in reality, there's just one planet pretending to be two in some ways, right? So what our soul's job, our journey here is about this lifetime, is to say, how do I integrate the past journeys of the soul with the present work that is to be done in the most amazing way. Because we've had these past experiences for a reason. They haven't been just, inconsequential or just happen. We have that. We got that as part of what we are. So it's important we understand that. But it's also important to know that if we have been there and done that, and we've learned something from it, how do we take the lesson of the quote unquote past life into the present life? And how do we make the present life more effective by bringing these two energies together? Who we were and who we're becoming, right? Past, the present, and future. And so when you look at an astral chart, you can see, well, what sign is this planet in? What sign is that planet in? Because that really indicates a lot of times like what some of the karmas are that were done and need to be done, in a general way at least. And then a good astrologer can also look even more closely and say, well, what areas of life these occur in? And they can also say, well, in which planets tend to be really involved in your present karma, and which planet tends to be really involved with your past karma. So if you have the past karmas that you're working through, and you realize it's connected, say like Venus, for example. Oh my gosh, I had a lot of past karma around Venus. Maybe I was very overly sensual, right? Maybe I was overly promiscuous, or maybe I got so involved with beauty and poetry and music that I neglected my spiritual side, right? Because Venus, Venus is good, and well, all the planets have challenges, right? So maybe there's a past karmic challenge with Venus. Maybe your future planet karma is associated with Mars. You think, well, that's the physical body. That means probably this lifetime, I have to really learn to take care of my physical body, right? That's what Mars does. I need to also have a strong sense of self. That's also very Mars to fulfill this karma in this lifetime. So it is kind of fun if you're saying, what was my past life or my present life karma, to kind of look at this and just see if you get an intuitive feel for what this is, right? From astrology. This is my way of doing it. There's other ways, I'm sure. People who are very intuitive. There are some people who say they can read past lives, and perhaps they can. I will tell you, if they're reading them, however, they're reading them through their own reading glasses, right? Because no matter who is reading, even astrologer, no matter who is telling you these things, they're telling them from their own strong bias. They may think they're not biased. Everyone's biased because everyone has an identity, everyone has a purpose, everyone has an agenda. Even if it's a good agenda, you have an agenda. So it's sometimes it's difficult to have other people tell you about this. What can be helpful, though, if you get some intimation from these other sources and you reflect on it and don't get too fancy about it, you might say, okay, I get it now. I really do need to take care of my physical body. This is really obvious now when I think about it, right? This is my present karma. I have these health issues I need to address. So it's helpful, right?